A basic search of Kurt Lewin describes him as a social psychologist. He was born on September 9, 1890 in Poland. He began his studies in medicine at the University of Freiburg in 1909. The following year, he moved to natural sciences at the University of Berlin. He served in the German army in World War I. He completed his PhD in 1916. In 1930, he was invited by the University of Stanford as a visiting professor. Later, he emigrated to the United States with his wife and daughter. In his lifetime, he wrote 8 books and more than 80 articles. He died at age 57 in Massachusetts of a heart attack. Now, Kurt Lewin is one who continues to have relevance to educators and has a place among leading business management theorists. But why? Well, it's primarily because of his organizational change model, which we explored last week based on the concepts of unfreezing, changing, and refreezing, and specifically his force field analysis method, which we will focus on here. So what is the force field analysis? This is arguably what Lewin is best known. His force field analysis uses force field diagrams. We believe this is best described as a tug of war between forces over a specific issue. The model is centered around a diagram to assess the combined effect of all the driving and restraining forces that influence organizational systems, either moving them toward or away from change. The diagram allows us to analyze potential change. Well, why do you use a force field analysis? Well, it forces you to look at the current state of affairs. It identifies the decision makers, it determines who is for and against the change, and identifies ways to influence the change. The process involves defining the problem, defining the change objective, identifying driving forces, identifying the restraining forces, and defining the change strategy and how to make it happen. Take a look at this video from CBS News. While this is an example outside of the classroom, it is a real-life example of an issue most of us face if we're on our roads in a big city, where Lewin's force field analysis could be used to determine next steps.
Here in Wisconsin, we've grown used to the zipper merge traffic pattern, and now engineers in other states are starting to use the same idea in construction zones. So are they having any better luck with the merge than us? CBS's Chris Van Cleve reports.
I stay in that lane as long as possible, and then I merge into it.
Can you really blame Deanna Graves? When the other cars line up in the right lane, all that empty pavement's on the left just sitting there unused. Now some traffic engineers are saying, go, use that space. So it's okay to cut.
It's okay to take turns.
Kansas is one of at least 8 states to try what's known as the zipper merge system. The State Department of Transportation put up signs asking drivers to use both lanes and take turns near a bridge construction project outside Kansas City. KDOT's finding what this does is bring predictability to the commute. They know that it takes 5 to 6 minutes to get through the work zone even in peak traffic. And from the air, you can see the cars keep moving and they come together, well, like the teeth of a zipper, hence the zipper merge. Several studies point to the benefits of zipper merging, including up to 50% shorter lines, a reduction in speeds around construction workers, and drivers reporting less anxiety and frustration. But transportation officials in other states aren't entirely convinced. Caltrans spokesman Mark Dinger says his state continues to encourage drivers to merge early.
We don't want those people to cut in at the very last second. Not only can it lead to road rage incidents, but again, it can lead to sudden braking, which can cause a direct collision.
Do you see a day where the zipper merge is the norm?
Yeah, it's not something that we're going to have to sign and teach forever. It's just kind of one of those things that will come along as our cities grow.
Chris Van Cleve, CBS News.
So how do you carry out a force field analysis? You put your plan or your proposal in the middle of your page. On the left-hand side, you list the forces for the change. On the right-hand side, you list the forces against the change. And if we were to look at the zipper merger idea, consider some of the issues that could be on the list. Are there costs involved? Who supports the change? Who is against it? Is it easy to make the changes? Are there risks involved? Are there resources, personnel, time to make it work? So that's how you do it. This is the diagram. Next, you assign a score to each force, say from 1, which would be weak, to 5, which is strong. Then you add up the scores for each column, for and against. What does the scoreboard mean? After you assign the scores, you determine, okay, do you move forward or not with the decision or change? And can you think about how to strengthen the forces that support the change and weaken the forces that oppose it so that the change is more successful?